What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the remote front office. Today, we are going to be going over my top five candidates for most improved player this year. But before we get into that, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to leave a subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We are on the road to 20 subscribers. Upload here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So, a couple of kind of I don't know, asterisks, if you will. Most improved player is probably the hardest award to gauge. Just because it's really hard to tell what the award's for, right? We've had guys like SGA win it, we've had guys like John Morant win it, who were good players, but then ascended into like star slash superstardom that year that they won it. We've had guys that win it that are more like third year leaps, guys that are second year, should they be considered? Guys that are past rookie extensions. Like there's a lot of variance to the term most improved player. I'm going to give my five. Obviously, if you guys have other guys you think should win, by all means, leave it down in the comments below. But I'll give kind of my rationale behind it, let you guys know what I think. So these, unlike the other videos we've done, are not going to be a 1 through 5. It's just going to be kind of five names that I think of off the top of my head here, and kind of looking at it and seeing a couple different things I took into variance: is role, new teams, new coaches, new systems, uh, full time in a new place, all sorts of stuff. So the first guy that we are going to talk about is Mikal Bridges. The reason I think Mikal Bridges can win most improved is he's improved every year. He's shown a little something different every year. And also now he's going to have a full year in Brooklyn. And as of right now, Brooklyn's really without that superstar, right? It's a bunch of really good guys that all really fit well. And they just don't really have that guy that's the clear number one. And I think Mikal Bridges can take that spot, and maybe he's not a, 32 point per game scorer, but I think just overall, him being the number one option and just really having his own team right now, right? I think that's kind of the most important part. And so I think that is why he would be a good candidate for this. Second guy I have, this one is more so contingent on you're trading James Harden, um, and you're getting back role players and a star, right? So, like, say James Harden gets traded to the Clippers, I think this fits this guy perfectly. And that would be Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey has made a leap every year. He's looked better every year. I like to see him with the ball more, honestly. And I think obviously if you do a Harden trade, more than likely you're not getting pieces back to fill that spot. And so I think Tyrese Maxey could be a good number two on the Sixers team, right? I think behind Joel Embiid, he could show improvement as far as he's really explosive, really dynamic. He can improve the shooting, points per game goes up, assists go up, right? And those sort of things, along with maybe the narrative of, hey, Harden left this team, woe is the Sixers, could put him in the most improved talks, right? The third guy I have is Anthony Simons. This is obviously due to Dame leaving. We don't know what Scoot is as of right now. And I think we're just kind of looking to see what the pecking order ends up being in Portland, right? Anthony Simons is one of the higher paid guys there. I think that maybe with just kind of how the new team's going to go, he's almost considered a vet kind of out of the guard rotation. So I think Chauncey's probably going to lean on him a little more. And I think that increased usage could lead to an increased production, which then therefore would lead to better stats, most improved player on maybe not as good of a team, right? Because most improved player, again, you don't have to be on a great team, kind of like rookie of the year. So I think that would be interesting. My fourth guy here is going to be Jordan Poole. Obviously, you're going from being a sixth man slash in that Warriors system, worth more of facilitating ball movement, player movement, that sort of thing, to where he's going to Washington now, where he is on a rebuilding team, very obviously. He's obviously has the right skill set to put up a lot of points, right? I think he is going to average above, I would say probably 26 would be kind of my ballpark for him. Mainly just off the volume of shots he's going to have available to him, right? Denny Avdia is not really a shooter. Daniel Gafford's not a shooter, right? So I think just whether he's on or off the ball in Washington, I think just the amount of shots available in Washington, a large percentage of that is going to go to Jordan Poole, right? So I think just kind of by default, if anything else, Jordan Poole puts himself in contention for the award. And then my last guy, and then we'll get into a couple of honorable mentions, is going to be Josh Giddey. Now, this one is a complete I love the player pick, then therefore I want to see him improve, right? He's taking leaps every year. We kind of saw a little bit in the preseason game. Now that Chet is on the floor to space it, you're going to have a lot more of where's the mismatch? Let's hunt the mismatch. And you saw Josh Giddey post up a couple of times. I think his assist numbers are still going to be at where they were at or even higher. And then I think he's slowly starting to progress into finding that scoring ability. And he might not have the deepest quote unquote bag, but I do think as far as just getting downhill, getting to his spots, and just seeing the floor, I think he's one of the better guards, especially the younger guards. And I think he's just poised to make another leap, right? And as much spotlight as OKC seems like they're going to get this year, I think if you combine that with it, I think he does put his name in the running for most improved player. A one that's kind of interesting that I don't know if I would put him in it is going to be Desmond Bane. This is again the honorable mention section. Just because Ja Morant's going to miss so much time, right? He's going to miss a minimum of 25 games. That's just off the suspension alone. Then you don't have factored in the injuries and just kind of the rest and all that sort of stuff. I am curious as far as Desmond Bane goes. Obviously, he can score the ball really well, and he's just an all-around really great player. And it seems like he's made a leap every year. I know I feel like I'm saying that for every player, but it's true. They've made leaps every year. And Desmond Bane really broke onto the scene. And now that he's got Marcus Smart around him and Triple J and Steven Adams is going to be back, right? He's got all these guys that are more defensive-minded guys or not necessarily put the ball on the floor and get themselves a bucket guys. And without Ja Morant there, I feel like he's going to have to carry this offense for at least the first 25 games, right? I think that's going to be his role. So I definitely think, especially the first month and a half, don't be surprised if you see his name listed in some sort of most improved. And then, like, two guys that are kind of long shots. Obi Toppin for Indiana, I think, with just being out of New York, having a new role, having a new purpose on his team. He is fighting for minutes with a rookie at his position. So I am curious as far as what happens as far as how evenly split the minutes are. But I do think just kind of, especially with Tyrese Halliburton, finding him open and getting him the break and throwing him lobs, just all this stuff combined, I think he shows a good point jump. And maybe in a couple of months, we're surprised to see he's averaging 15 and 6 or whatever. DeAndre Ayton, I'm curious to see what hopefully motivated DeAndre Ayton looks like. As far as he's now in Portland. Again, Portland's trying to find that pecking order. Curious as to where he stacks up. But I do think maybe a motivated or an aggravated DeAndre Ayton, maybe he puts up good numbers, right? Maybe he goes back to maybe he can get to 25 and 13. Would that be crazy to say on a Portland team like that? And then the last guy that is a complete and utter long shot, Anthony Edwards, right? I understand, yes, Anthony Edwards is good. We've all known this for a couple of years. Anthony Edwards is a bucket, but typically guys that have a good Team USA run and then come back, take another leap, right? And we've seen this with SGA. We've seen this with Ja Morant. We've seen this with just guys over and over and over again that we know they're good. We know that there are all-star caliber players, but when they make that leap into star or superstardom, for whatever reason, they get a lot of traction for these awards, right? And I think with just the projection he's on right now, he very well could be at least in the running for the award, right? But that's my thought. Again, if you guys have any other guys I missed or guys you're thinking of, leave it down below in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.